So in the wake of yesterday's crazy news about these possible Nintendo Switch 2 leaked images and CG CAD drawings and possible shells for Joy-Cons and Switches and all that stuff that I covered yesterday and that everyone covered yesterday, I wanted to do something a little bit different, but something that I think would be both fun and important to do, which is to revisit something from many, many years ago, which is the time that the Nintendo Switch itself did accurately leak before it was revealed. This is something that I think people either forget happened or people just weren't around or paying attention to. Now, the reason I even thought of this and decided that it would be kind of fun and, like I said, also important to talk about this and make a video about this subject is because I was watching one of Arlo's videos about this yesterday, and I'm a big fan of Arlo. We don't know each other. We've never talked before, even though we travel in the same circles. But I do like Arlo. I love the way he presents his stuff. I think it's a lot of fun. And I was watching his own video. It was actually his Topic Arlo channel. It's like a secondary channel he has, where he was talking about these leaks from the Switch 2 stuff and if they're real or not. And he basically was doubling down on believing them. He said, look, I think these are real. And not because he had any inside info, he was just saying his gut feeling tells him that they're real, which is fine because we can all only go off of our gut feelings. I discussed it myself in my video yesterday. It could be real, could be fake. We won't know until Nintendo tells us. And so he discussed them from the lens of saying, look, this is why I think these are more than likely real. And something that he mentioned, here's again why his video convinced me to make this video. He mentioned in the beginning, he's like, I don't think we've ever seen anything this accurate leak before when it comes to video game hardware or Nintendo hardware. You know, it was just an off-the-cuff thing. It wasn't a part of his video. He just randomly said, I don't think we've ever seen this before. This is crazy. And I immediately thought, that's not true. This did happen before with the current Switch back in 2016. So something that's really cool about this is, I think one of the reasons it was so easy for me to recall the Nintendo Switch accurately leaking when it was still the Nintendo NX is because, and I referenced it last time, I've been a YouTube channel for a really long time. I'm not the biggest YouTuber. I've clearly never gone viral and blown up in terms of my size and scope and reach, that's for sure. I do well for my size, but I've never obviously blown up. However, I've been around since 2013 doing this, running Rule of Two Review, covering gaming and covering Nintendo during the Wii U era and the Nintendo NX era. So I remember when this story came out because I made a video covering all of these leaks and rumors, and also another very important thing that we're going to go into. So let's talk about the most important element of this leaking, and it comes down to Eurogamer. It's crazy that people forget this stuff, or again, maybe just weren't around for it, but here's the thing. In July of 2016, so 4 months before Nintendo revealed the NX to be the Nintendo Switch in October that same year, back in July of 2016, Eurogamer reported with these images that the Nintendo Switch was going to be a portable device with controllers that detached from a screen, but could also be plugged into your TV, and that the same experience would carry with you, whether you were playing on your TV or playing handheld. You could play it portably, you could leave your house and walk about the entire earth and then come back and plug it into your TV and the same experience would continue. Nowadays, that seems normal, that seems obvious. We've seen the Switch. Conceptually, it's not a strange or abstract thing to think about, but at this time, it was abstract. It was very awkward and strange in an exciting way, you know, not in a bad way, but it was a very weird thing for us to wrap our heads around before it was confirmed and before we had actually seen the Nintendo Switch and understood what it was. You have to put yourself in the 2016 mindset. The Wii U was out. The PS4 and the Xbox One were only a few years old. The 3DS was still Nintendo's main portable at the time. I mean, it was just a different era. And the Nintendo NX was this futuristic rumor thing that no one really knew what it was going to be. So this general concept was very foreign, but again, if we look at these images, this is exactly the Nintendo Switch. Freaking look at this thing. This is what it was. And in July of 2016, before the Switch was revealed, again in October, Eurogamer was like, look, this is what it's probably going to be. And they were correct. And crazily enough, there's another interesting wrinkle to the story that happened at this time, which was Boogie 2988. And I know nowadays in 2024, that name is immediately controversial. That guy has gone through so much crap in the years since this story. So forget 2024 Boogie. We're talking 2016 Boogie 2988, when he was definitely a lot more, I don't even know. His reputation was just a lot better, right, on the internet. And he was definitely more known as like a gaming-focused kind of guy and not all the crazy stuff that's happening with him nowadays. He just was like a nerdy gamer, and that's what his channel was, and he was very popular. And so what happened is at Retropalooza 2016, in like early October, I want to say October 2nd, he did a panel, just a panel by himself, and he was answering questions for people. And that video was posted online, and this was a bit of a story that, again, the few of us who were covering gaming and Nintendo at the time were very aware of. And he actually talked about someone he knew at Ubisoft who had played the Nintendo NX, had shared with him what it was, and at this panel, this is like 2 weeks before Nintendo revealed it, he discussed what his Ubisoft friend told him the Nintendo NX would do, and again, it was essentially exactly what the Switch was. He was correct, and it was a pretty big story. Here is a quick snippet of what he said in early October before the Switch was revealed about the Nintendo NX.
But I'm hoping that it turns out to be a good console. I've talked to two people who've used it. One is somebody from Ubisoft, and he said programming for it is actually really nice, and Nintendo's been working very closely with them, and that the concept is great because he said you could play, well, I don't know how careful I should be here, but let's say you could play Assassin's Creed once you have your handheld plugged into your console, and then you can then detach the thing and take it with you and play the Assassin's Creed mobile game out of your pocket. And then when you get back home, plug it directly in, and now it attaches back to the, oh, that's brilliant, like, that's smart, right? Like, take a form of the game with you as you go. So he says it's a dream to code for. And then somebody I know who's played on an EX for 20 minutes, or an NX for 20 minutes, says, I keep getting, everything is the EX now that I've been playing Pokemon. Yeah. It's Pokemon EX card. He said it's as innovative as they'd hoped to, and said that we wished we had done that.
Wow.
Yep, so hopefully, let's just hope Nintendo doesn't fumble.
I mean, there you have it, man. Weeks before the NX was revealed and confirmed to be the Switch, and we understood, oh, it's a hybrid portable with controllers that detach, he explained exactly what it was based on someone he knew at Ubisoft, and I think someone else he referenced, who are developers who already knew what the Switch was going to be and were making games for it, and he described it. And so I double-checked. I think the panel was October 2nd, 2016, and he uploaded his video in this version of the conversation, and it's a full panel. This is just like, 30 seconds of the whole discussion. And he was answering someone's questions. He uploaded this on October 4th, and I think it was October 20th or 21st or 22nd maybe that the NX was revealed to be the Switch, right? And so this is 2 weeks ahead of time, on top of Eurogamer's reports that I just showed you and the leaked, mock-up images of what the Switch was. Boogie was another prominent gaming figure at the time who everyone listened to, who shared the exact details of what the Switch was going to be. And I'm going to remind you guys, for anyone who wasn't around or following this stuff at the time, that this was an abstract concept. And so it was really exciting because I even remember, and look, I covered this. Here, I mean, look at this young guy with this terrible lighting in my old duplex house that we were renting with my terrible camera. This guy right here, me, in 2016, covered this like immediately. I made a whole story about Boogie confirming and discussing what he heard the NX was going to be. And so I was one of few people at the time breaking down Boogie's comments, and it was a big deal. And so when he described this, I just remember talking about it in this video and talking about it amongst my other friends on the Juices Loose podcast. We all talked about this stuff together at the time. And it was really strange to wrap our heads around the concept of like, how do you play a game on a console? And our only vision of a console was a box you plugged into your TV, like a Wii U or a Nintendo 64 or a PlayStation or an Xbox. How do you do that, but then take the game from a home console box with you and then leave your house and play it? And then you come back and then you play the same game on your TV. It makes so much sense in 2024, but I promise you, for 99% of us in 2016, before the Switch was revealed, when Boogie described this, it just didn't click the same way. Like, we understood it, but at the same time, it was very hard to imagine it until 2 weeks later, when everything Eurogamer and Boogie said turned out to be true when the Switch was officially revealed. I really like talking about this because it actually paints a very fascinating and reminiscent picture for me of what YouTube and gaming and Nintendo YouTube was like going back 7-8 years, in this era. The Wii U era, the Nintendo NX rumor era, 2017, because the landscape of gaming YouTube is so different nowadays. The size of it and the speed of it today compared to 2016 when this story was going around is so different. Because today, if something like this, in fact, the perfect example is literally yesterday. Just CG images of the Switch 2 leaked, and we had enough reason to believe that maybe they're true. And everyone and their mother on Twitter and on YouTube and on probably Twitch or TikTok and all these other places people talk about this stuff. There are so many content creators now across multiple platforms talking about these things that within an hour, there's 100,000 freaking videos and conversations, and I added my own into the mix. I'm not saying I'm not part of this. We all talked about this right away, and there are so many people in the game nowadays breaking these things down and waiting to pounce on any story that could be this big. In 2016, even though there was a community of us covering these things and talking about it, it was a fraction of what it is today. And the reason I say this is because when I just got onto YouTube and Google to research and find, when was that Boogie thing? I remembered covering it in a video. I remembered it as a story. I Googled it and I went on YouTube to find it. And I Googled like Boogie Nintendo NX, panel or conversation or something. And I found it. But here's the thing. When I did that, the only relevant videos, or two of the most relevant videos I found, one was this exact video that I've linked, Boogie's own upload of his conversation, and my video came up that said, Boogie talks about the NX or whatever my video title was. I forget now, but it's all going to be linked below here. And I was like, man, I'm one of like a few people that made a story about this that turned out to be an accurate representation of what the Switch was going to be only 2 weeks later. That's how small the pool of people jumping on this kind of news was in 2016. And again, compare that to 2024. Compare that to all of the people that have jumped into the game since the Switch was revealed. Whether they're Nintendo YouTubers or PlayStation, Xbox, PC YouTubers, or people who cover all things gaming, it was barely anybody doing it back then compared to what it is today. Yesterday's Switch 2 leaks are the prime example of this. And so, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I took a little bit of pride in seeing that. I was like, man, I've really been around doing this long that when a story this big came out, there really weren't a lot of people that talked about it. When I searched it, I was like the only YouTuber that wasn't Boogie that came up, or like I said, one of the only YouTubers. And, I'm not like God's gift to YouTube or anything, obviously. I'm a small channel here, but I just thought it was really cool. And I was like, wow, good for me. Good for me. Look at me go. 2016, no one else was doing this. I'm like the only person who actually covered this story. And it turned out to be a very relevant, important story. So anyway, that's kind of a sidetrack. That's not really the point of this. The whole point of this is to say, looking at this holistically, we have seen a situation where next-gen video game hardware, and specifically Nintendo next-gen video game hardware, did leak accurately before it was officially revealed by Nintendo. And it was the last time this happened, okay? There's no generation gap between the last time this happened and this time. The Wii U before it was Project Cafe. That was also very exciting. I think that was like a year before they revealed it in 2011. I was doing a different podcast with a bunch of my friends in Denver at the time for probably 10 people. Not a lot of people listen to us on iTunes. And we discussed the Project Cafe rumors, which we knew was going to be Nintendo's next-gen console. But there was no rumors or leaks about what it was going to be. The whole dual-screen gamepad thing, at least I don't remember that being a part of the leaks. By the time we got to the Switch, the NX in 2016, it accurately leaked. Eurogamer knew it. Boogie confirmed it a few months later. And then 2 weeks after that, Nintendo was like, here's the Switch. And it's exactly what Eurogamer and Boogie said it was going to be. And so to wrap this up, how does this factor into the Switch 2 image leaks and stuff from yesterday and this week and this whole story? Who knows? I'm not trying to make a case that simply because the Switch leaked accurately before it was revealed, that means these are accurate leaks of the Switch 2. I'm not saying that it's a one-to-one comparison. I just think, just like I did in yesterday's video, I drew comparisons to other accurate leaks, like the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED leak and the Switch Lite leak being real, but also the Nintendo NX controller leak not being real and being confirmed to be fake. Just like I drew those comparisons, I'm kind of just drawing a different comparison for the sake of conversation, for trying to get your brains thinking in different ways, and also just to go down a fun trip down memory lane and remind ourselves of this, what happened, how much fun it was at the time in 2016 to hear these things and see these images and wonder, like, what is this NX is it gonna be this weird thing? It was hard to believe, but it turned out to be real. And so it's just kind of fun to go back into that era and remind ourselves, and also just to be reminded of a time when something as massive as a next generation Nintendo console accurately leaked from a couple of different sources before they confirmed it. So what does that say about these Switch 2 leaks this week? I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know what to make of it. It's just very interesting. It's exciting. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks or months, Nintendo will reveal the Switch 2. I think it's going to happen by the end of October. Between now and the end of October, I'm predicting Nintendo will reveal it. It's not fact. It's just a guess. We'll wait and see. But yeah, let us all take a moment and remember when Eurogamer and Boogie told the world what the Switch was going to be before Nintendo actually did.